Evening peeps, flipping heck. Evening people, evening, welcome back to the channel. We are live tonight for round 3 of GTTCC, hosted by MRC over there on Facebook. Go click those like buttons. What's happening here? Are we having a 1 lap special? I think we are. So tonight we've got 2 races. Like I say, it's round 3 of GTTCC. It is the Gran Turismo Touring Car Championship. 2 races from Daytona tonight. We've got race 1 from the oval, so a great big circle, pretty much oval, pretty much. So not a lot of action, as in corner wise, but obviously there'll be a lot of overtaking with the slipstream and stuff like that. And then race 2, we jump into the same circuit, but we use the infield side of it as well. So we'll get a bit more action through there. So I'll get to scores as we go through qualifying. I think we've got a 1 lap special for qualifying. So merch still available, people, blah, blah, blah. Let's get on with that. But I think we've already got people out on track doing their 1 lappers. So let's get the nonsense on, find out if Faithless is on a outlap. He is on an outlap, okay. So I think they're doing a 1 lap special for qualifying just because of the nature of this circuit. Now Faithless Emo comes up to the line then to start his 1 flying lap. Again, not a lot of time to be gained here. You know, it's just a great big oval. Still, even after the update, still got slightly glitchy lobbies. Bit of a shame. Faithless then in the Lamborghini. This final turn then Faithless will go on board with the next driver. It looks to be Valtteri, next man out on track. He's just sitting in the pits waiting. Faithless then coming up towards the line. And there is 53.9 if it is just the single lap, but I can imagine it is. Still got those wobbly lobbies. Valtteri then coming out on track. Let's go for a little bit. Long-ish pit out, that is. So you'll see then, this will be what race 1 will look like. Oof, already picked himself up a second penalty there, Valtteri. Crossed the pit line too early, I'm assuming. We'll get back up to speed before the start line, so Faithless then puts himself back in the pits. Now Valtteri then coming up towards the line. Again, this is just going to be pretty much a flat-out race, this one, with a lot of overtaking due to the slipstream. Across the line he goes, then start his flying lap, Valtteri. Obviously faithless with fastest so far, because he's the only person been out and done a full flying qualifier. Getting some wobbles on there by Valtteri. I'm not sure if that's wobbly lobbies or a bit of wobbly downforce. Bit of both, I suspect. See, hitting 162 along this back straight. I didn't pay attention to see how quick Faithless was. Still at 160, coming round the banked corner. Just wobbling through 163. Up towards the line then, let's see what Valtteri does. Just pegging 165 there. So it's a 55.0 for Valtteri. Looks like we've now got P1 Don coming out to try his luck in this one lap flying qualifier. Not too sure where the pit lane ends here. It looks a little bit tricky. Valtteri picking up a penalty, I think, due to coming onto the circuit a little bit too early. So out lap for Don then. So got the wobble on. Hitting at 158 up there though, Don. So towards the line then, 164 he hits. The wobbly lobbies still affecting us here on GT7. So let's have a little look at points as well, shall we? So we have seen a few drivers already, but none of the top drivers so far. So leading the championship in the minute after the first, what have we had, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's after the first 4 races is P1 Dylan. He's got himself 117 points. In second place is Hirakram. He has got himself 96 points. Got Fabuki in third with 81 points. Got Mocky Weeks in fourth with 72 points. Got Faithless Emo fifth with 69 points. We have P1 Don in sixth. He's got 61 points. Janio 7th, 58 points. Fat Pickles in 8th with 48 points. Got 2 drivers on 43 points. It's P Gib and LFC fan in 9th and 10th. We have Manny Aff in 11th. He has himself 38 points. Got Valtteri in 12th. He's got 28 points. Got Potter McPot in V-Show in 13th. He has 14 points. Total Rose with 28 points for V-Show, apologies. And Total Rose has 14 points. Potter McPot in 15th with 9 points. So who is leading this charge at the minute? It is still Faithless Emo with that 53.9. Can't see what Don got. Oh, sorry, Manny's time was. Mocking Weeks then on his hot lap. So race 2 does involve a bit of a bobble somewhere about here on the circuit, a little bit of a bus stop. And then just as you cross the start-finish line on the other side of the circuit, just coming around to it now for Mocky Weeks, it does peel onto the infield circuit, and there's a great big infield section to play with before coming back out before the great big turn 1 that we've got on this circuit. So Mocky Weeks is going to put in a 54.6. I should have written these down because they're not showing up on circuit on the other drivers' screens because they're in the pits. But it is still Faithless Emo on pole position for this. If you're wondering what's going on, it is just a one driver shootout, one lap shootout, one driver on circuit at a time. Manny now out on circuit, starting his out lap while Mocky Weeks comes in. Drivers starting to rack up in the pits then as they finish their laps. So they do have to do one out lap, obviously they're just coming out of the pits. One flying lap and then an in lap. Another McLaren on circuit. Coming up to the line now then for Manny. Starts his flying hot lap. Kicking those sparks up as they hit this great big bank to turn 1. The downforce pushing the rear of these cars into the ground. And slightest bit of bobble on circuit means they bounce off the tarmac. The car's going to be put under pressure tonight then. Given absolute full throttle for race 1. Not far off in race 2, to be perfectly honest. So Manny then, 55.1. Fat Pickles, next man to have a go at this one lap qualifier. James told him to do it. I don't know if that was pick the Bentley, but sorry, not the Bentley, is it? It's a Bugatti. Look at the size of it. Crazy. What a car. Coming up to the line then for Fat Pickles, for him to start his fast lap. He's put in a little bit of extra speed down on the straights, 167, 168. So running slightly faster, 169 actually. Oh, just tipping the scales at 170 as he hits turn 1. Fat Pickles could be on here depending how everybody else's car fares. Down the back straight. Purple sectors in sectors 1 and 2. Should be good for pole then if he can keep it up. He doesn't spin himself into the wall, but not turning tight enough to do so. across the line, then Fat Pickles, a 53.3 to beat. If you know the Ducks, then you know the Ducks. Who's the next one out on track? P1 Dylan, I think. Let's go and find him. Here he is, out in the Ferrari. So race 1 and race 2, they do have to use 2 different cars for each race. They have to choose their cars at the start of the season and stick with them, or if they do decide to change cars, they get a great big penalty deduction in points. I think it's half points removed if you decide to change car. So got to get it right early on. So yes, they do have to use 2 different cars, 1 car for race 1, 1 car for race 2, obviously. There's a little bit of tyre wear, a little bit of fuel depletion on. We'll see how they get on here with this Daytona circuit. Getting at full throttle all the way around here for half an hour. It's going to take it out on their cars. Across the line then for Dylan, starts his hot lap. 166 on this first straight as he comes into the first corner. Not sure if anyone's going to be able to take that time off of Fat Pickles. Coming up towards the line for Dylan. And I think that Bugatti is just going to be too quick. Crosses the line with a 54.5, so still Fat Pickles. Who's next? Fabuki is the next man out on circuit. Right-hand drive Honda. Delivery's looking good again this season. Just while he's on his outlap, we'll have a quick browse through the pits if we can. Oh, we can't see all the deliveries. Oh, you swines. Alright, we'll stick back with Fabuki then. Why would it give him Mocky Week's lovely livery and nobody else is in the pits? Stupid game. Right then, Fabuki up to the line. He starts his hot lap now then. 164, the Honda's hitting down the straights. 165, just tickling 166. Low line there for Fabuki. Seen some drivers hit the high line, not drag it around the wall, but just try and carry a little bit of extra speed around the top maybe. Let them run down the hill. Up towards the line then for Fabuki. Puts in a 54.7. So I couldn't tell you what the grid position is, to be honest. All I know is Fat Pickles is still on pole. Again, it's a 1 lap shootout here at Daytona with this oval circuit. Seems a bit daft to get everyone out on track. It'll only be a slipstream nightmare. Is going to be the next man out. I jumped into the lobby pretty quickly, so I didn't see who else was in the lobby. Faithless has driven, yeah, all these drivers have driven. Fat Pickles coming back out. So have we only got the 8 drivers in the lobby tonight? That's a bit of a shame for Fusion Elite. Weeks also in the Ferrari getting released. Sounding good at the GR4s. Poor Fubuki going to get targeted. No. Sorts of sparks being thrown up in the background. Chaos ensues then. Give the boys 2 minutes of free time and yeah. This happens. Okay, grid set then. Race 1 just about to get underway. This will be a great big race of slipstream here in Daytona. Again, race 2 will change it up a little bit. We use the infield circuit. Fat Pickles on this pole position though in this great big... Give me cameras, damn it! Oh, you damn game. Right, on board with the big Bugatti, getting close up quickly by the Ferrari of Dylan, in fact, battling out with Faithless Emo for second. But can Fat Pickles in this great big Bugatti use the power to get himself away from these boys behind? Carries a bit more speed down the straights, does the Bugatti, but with the slipstream, everybody should be able to stay pretty close or even make a bit of an attack. We'll see, back onto this long straight then. Are you going to change cameras for me? No, you swine then. Okay, jump keys, fly away. Bam! Dylan then looking to run a little bit around the outside. The pack already splitting up a tiny little bit. I'm sure the gaps aren't big enough. Faithless Emo going a little bit wide there. Dylan second then, Fubuki third, Faithless in fourth, Mockin in fifth, Valtteri sixth. A little bit of a gap back then to Don and Manny in seventh and eighth. 0.6 of a second back. They don't want to drop too far off, otherwise they lose the slipstream from the pack. Now, will they work together to close that gap back up? Will there be a little bit of bump drafting on the straights? No. Manny looking for a move around the outside of Don. Oh, you swine, you're still not going to give me exterior cameras, are you? Starting to fall away from this leading group then. Fat Pickles in this Bugatti still leads. Fubuki slots his way into second though. Rocky Weeks third now. Faithless Emo fourth. Valtteri fifth. Dylan has dropped all the way back to eighth. What's happened? Valtteri in fifth. Don sixth. Manny seventh. Dylan has got front wheel damage. Something's happened. He's a long way back. He's 2 seconds behind Manny. 4.8 behind Fat Pickles race leader. There he goes. Still being hounded by these drivers behind though. Wobbly lobby is kicking in. Unfortunately, it's only on corners. You'll see when we get on the straights. It all settles down and looks respectable. Slipstream kicking in then. But, like I say, this Bugatti just got so much power versus these other cars. It was carrying a few miles an hour extra down the straights. So even when the drivers do get an opportunity to get alongside it to make a move, once they're out of that slipstream, it just affects their top speed too much, I think. Pickles will be having that all day long. You just stay behind me, boys. Admittedly, he'll be using all the fuel. Right in the thick of it then, Fat Pickles right in front of us. We've got Mocking Weeks right behind us. Faithless Emo's right behind him. Valtteri's fallen off this pack as well. Top 4 then. Managed to get a bit of a gap. Looks like Dylan slowly closing up on the back end of Manny and Don. Still. I'll say that into the mic. Fat Pickles leads. So it doesn't affect the drivers quite so much as you're seeing. I see every single driver giving that wobbliness on the corners. Look at that bumper to bumper through there. Faithless thought about having a little look, but just couldn't carry the speed. Mocking Weeks then. Give her a slightly different line through there. So yeah, from the driver's perspective, they don't see every driver wobbling about. They see maybe 1 or 2 drivers. Majority of other drivers are clean. From a spectator's point of view, unfortunately, they all do it. We're not sure whether it's down to a connection, the connection, the host's connection, the server settings. Who knows? Faithless Emo gets himself up the inside of Mocking Weeks though, but Mocking Weeks just looking to carry as much speed as possible around the outside. But again, without that slipstream of Fat Pickles in front, he has to rely on the slipstream to stay in touch, as does everybody else. Fabuki then gets himself back into second, has a little think about having a go at Fat Pickles. Medium tyre on board for Fat Pickles as well. Soft tyre on board for Fabuki. That could cost him. As we're right, looking a little worse for wear. Faithless on the softs as well. Mocking on the softs again, so Fat Pickles gone for the medium tyre. Not quite as quick, but he's managing to fend off. I say that just as Faithless Emo slots his way past, as does Mocking Weeks using the toe of these two. What happened to Fat Pickles? How did he suddenly end up going so slow? Did he back off the throttle? I don't know. Fed up with leading, I'm not sure, but he's allowed Faithless and Mocking Weeks to go through. But again, he's on that medium tyre. He will be able to run a little bit longer than these boys. Look how much he's closed up on Mocking Weeks already. Still dragging Fabuki with him. Let's go and see what else is happening in the field. So Valtteri, 8.4 seconds off the back of the top 4. P1 Don still having a battle with Manny for 6th at the minute. They are 2.4 seconds away from Valtteri in front. And then Dylan, after whatever happened to Dylan, he is now closing up on Manny, 2.2 seconds behind. 7 minutes into race 1. 30-minute race here at Daytona. Mocking Weeks now leads. Fat Pickles back into second. Faithless third. Again, that Bugatti carrying more speed than everyone else. 166 along there. 167 for Mocking. Already at 170 for Fat Pickles. Back of this 4 here then Fat Pickles, and does so. Staying together though, this top 4. Mocking Weeks goes for that completely different line around the outside again. Everybody kicking up the sparks here. Valtteri, very lonely race for him at the minute. Just got to keep turning left a little bit, my friend. Don closes that gap up a little bit, brings it down to 1.8 seconds. Still got Manny for company. These two have not left each other's side from the beginning of the race either. Dylan not managed to close that gap up horrendously now. His rear right is looking a bit worse for wear too. Everyone's going to have to think about coming in for tyres. Everybody on the softs is going to have to think about coming in for tyres soon. Faithless being one of those, Fubuki being one of those, Fat Pickles not being one of those. Mocking Weeks is looking a little worse than everyone else's, to be honest. Still pretty much bumper to bumper, these four. Fat Pickles just allowed that gap to stretch up to 1/4 of a second, but is well within the slipstream range and still has all the power of that Bugatti. Looks like he's still getting a little nudge up the road here and there from Mockin as well. Top four then. 10 minutes into this one, again absolutely full throttle here at Daytona. Weeks just dropped off the back of that fight again, still well within slipstream range. At the empty track behind them now, 12.9 seconds. Valtteri under serious threat then from Don and Manny. It's a three-way McLaren fight here then for 5th. Dylan loses a bit of time to these three drivers now in front, now 2.9 seconds back. Okay, you four are boring me now. I'm going to watch these three. It's kicking off now. It's going to kick off. Someone's going to let off the throttle for a glim of a second, and there's going to be a nuclear explosion. Oof, Valtteri holds his own though. Manny looking to come around the outside of Don. Gets himself in front. The three McLarens then through this banked turn. How long will Valtteri be able to hold on to this one though? Manny's on the hard tyres as well. He's gone for a completely different strategy. Don on the mediums. His tyre's not looking too bad, to be honest. Valtteri also on the mediums. Manny looking good on tyres. Might be able to save himself a little bit of time in the pits if he doesn't change his tyres, just comes in for fuel. Starting to become a worry for a lot of these drivers. Fat Pickles, I think, will probably be using the most as his car's a monster. Oof, he's done well. Over 1/4 of a tank in that great big Goliath of a thing. Faithless Emo. Rear right tyre screaming out for a pit stop. 12 minutes into race 1. Fubuki's rear right also saying, please drag me in with you. Fat Pickles rear right starting to must be affecting him a little bit now. Where are you going, Faithless? Mocking Weeks again up high around this bank turn to start with. Nobody's stopping this lap. Is Fat Pickles just having a little bit of a rest here? Is he saving a bit of fuel, just using the slipstream of these guys? He knows he can, he knows he's got the power. He knows he can stay in front of them from the first part of the race. So if he just stays behind these two, saves a bit of fuel, spends less time in the pits when he does have to come in. Might be able to get himself a little bit of a gap here, Fat Pickles. We'll have to see how his strategy plays out. Faithless and Fubuki. Tyres. Fat Pickles is not looking too much better, to be honest. Mocking Weeks also in trouble with that rear right. Valtteri almost out of fuel. He'll be in at the end of this lap. Manny might attempt another one. Don will attempt another one, I think. Dylan's got plenty on board. As have the top four for a few more laps at least. Some little gaps just starting to stretch out here then. Faithless Emo pulls 0.4 of a second over Fubuki. Fubuki gets 0.6 over Fat Pickles. Again, they are still within this slipstream range. They are just starting to break apart now. 0.7 for Fat Pickles. Again, these top drivers might be thinking about coming into the pits. That rear right tyre could be getting a bit of a worry for some of these drivers. The three McLarens pit then. Oh, sorry, it's not the... Oh, yes, it is. All three McLarens pit. Faithless Emo stays out, Fubuki stays out, Fat Pickles stays out, and Mocking Week stays out. Still only 1.6 seconds between the top four. Dylan drops himself into 5th then. He also stays out this lap. .2 seconds behind Mocking Weeks. So Valtteri manages to get back out the pits before Manny. Question now being, has he put enough fuel on for the rest of the race? Manny also just going for slightly over, well, they start with 70%, don't they? So I think they've matched it with stint 1. So Valtteri, Manny and Don all being closed up by the race leaders, although Fat Pickles and Fubuki dive into the pits. Fubuki's tyre's gone pretty much out of fuel as well. Fat Pickles just not taking the risk. So he comes in, he's going to change his tyre, he's going to get a bit of fuel on. He's still got a fair chunk on board, that might save him a little bit of time. So Faithless still leads them, Mocking 2nd. Have got the couple of the McLarens in between them. Fat Pickles back out the pits then. Takes on board half a tank of fuel, just over, and another set of racing mediums. Fubuki also comes back out the pits. He's gone for 3/4 of a tank and another set of racing softs. Dylan comes out the pits just over half a tank. Fresh set of softs on board. Gets himself out in front of P1 Don as well. So he's made up a position then, Dylan. We'll see whether he's taken on board enough fuel to finish the race though. Don also just coming out with half a tank. Faithless being helped out by Valtteri there. Mocking Weeks in the pits, racing softs. Faithless yet to pit though. We'll see what happens when everyone comes in. He stays out again, Faithless. He's running it to the limit on fuel. Forget the tyres, he's not interested. Fat Pickles starts storming through the field then. Gets himself back past Mocking Weeks as Mocking Weeks was just coming out the pit lane. Fat Pickles then 40 seconds behind Faithless. Again, Faithless not stopped yet. Mocking Weeks now 1.9 seconds behind that great big Bugatti. Again, it was fast in qualifying, it was holding the most speed down the straights. And now without the tow for Mocking Weeks, all be over. Now it's all about really where Faithless comes back out when he does decide to come in the pits. It could be this lap. Might brave it for another. No, he's in. But Fat Pickles is the other side of the circuit now. now, Faithless. Fat Pickles rounds this spanked final corner. Heavyweight Bugatti Faithless gets released now, but Fat Pickles will be carrying all the speed. I think he's a long way back though. Hitting that 170 mark down the straight. Is it enough to close the gap up on Faithless before the end of this race? So the gap at 7.1 and falling. And there's Faithless. Through he goes. 6.1 seconds the gap. 163, I think, along there. Faithless Emo. Let's see what he hits on this long. So he's not changed tyres either, Faithless. He's stayed on those beaten up softs. He's risking it for a biscuit. Gap down to 5.4 seconds. Just over 10 minutes to go. Is it going to be enough? Didn't even see how quick he was going down the straight. I was too busy looking at his tyres and fuel. What's he getting down this back straight? 165, 164. Fat Pickles behind. 160. Interesting. Gap grows back up to 6 seconds. Then falling off that fight with Fat Pickles. He was 1.7, it's now 4 seconds. And I just don't think anybody can get the full speed pace of that Bugatti. Fubuki in 4th, then again a long way back from Fat Pickles now, so from Mocking Weeks, 5.7 seconds behind in 4th. Valtteri holding 5th, but for how much longer I don't know. He's got Manny nipping at his heels. There they are, the two McLarens. They managed to drop P1 Don from the fight, who was with these two. Dylan still at another 4.2 seconds behind them. Ooh, Manny having a little look around the outside, but unable to carry the speed. Valtteri holds it. There is Dylan then, 4.2 seconds down in the Ferrari. And he has got Don for company instead. Faithless finding time. What's happening, Fat Pickles? Why are you going supersonic 1 minute and then slow the next? Doing 164 miles an hour. How bizarre. We'll do 164 down this side of the circuit. Have we got, where's the wind? Okay, yeah, so we've got a bit of wind action kicking in. Maybe the great big front end of that Bugatti is slowing him down versus the nice sleek front end of the Lamborghini on the way into the wind. Gap down to 5.6 though. 7.5 minutes remaining. Did everybody calculate their fuel correctly? Fat Pickles is down to 1/4 of a tank. Faithless Emo has got about 1/3 of a tank on board. Mocking Weeks also has about 1/3 of a tank. Fubuki just under a half. I think he's got plenty to go. Valtteri as well, just over 1/4 of a tank. All on his own now as well. Oh no, sorry, no he's not. I was seeing Fubuki come up the track in the orange car. Thinking it was for Valtteri, but it wasn't. Valtteri still being hounded by Manny. Again, not sure if these two are working together a little bit. Maybe try and close that gap up on Fabuki. Dylan and Don still at it as well, 7th and 8th. Again, a little bit shocked at the low numbers this week, only 8 drivers on circuit. Faithless then holds on to the lead. He's got a very, very broken rear right tyre. The rest of them not looking too bad. But Fat Pickles, again, I think on the on this side of the circuit, he's getting all the push from the wind and he's able to get all the speed. But on the back half of the circuit, just the sheer size of this thing is not allowing him to get those speeds. So you look here, he's just tickling 166, 167 every now and then. Then as he comes around here, the most Fat Pickles can get when he hits the flat is about 163, 164. So that wind really causing the Bugatti to struggle. Again, the sleek shape of the Lamborghini, I think, just assisting him through the wind there, allowing him to keep that gap up. He'll still be getting the advantage on the start-finish straight as well. Weeks then 3.6 seconds behind Fat Pickles, has managed to find a tiny bit of time. Fabuki then at 7 seconds back in 4th. Valtteri and Manny are closing up on him. Honda driver could be under a bit of threat here. 5 minutes remaining and the gap at 0.8 of a second, so they are within slipstream range now of the Honda driver. And again, the two McLarens do seem to have been working together. They're not been battling for position, just been pushing and working together to close that gap up on Fabuki. And now, as we come into this final part of the race, you might start to see some battles between these three. Valtteri having a look, using the slipstream. Can it be enough to get him around the outside here? Fabuki with that inside line will be slightly shorter. Valtteri has to slot himself back into 5th. Dylan and Don then still 7.5 seconds behind in 7th and 8th. Still bumper to bumper. Will these boys have a little battle in these last few remaining laps? It's looking better for Faithless now, 7.6 second lead. Tyres absolutely blown out, 3.5 minutes remaining. Fat Pickles, are you having to do a little bit of fuel saving, Fat Pickles? Are you? Or are you just really struggling? Oh no, full throttle in 7th. Weeks is swooping past. Great. Pad battery's just died. I've not even got my charger lead up here. No. I hope I've got enough keyboard functions to make this work. Yes, I have, just. Nearly 8 seconds then for Faithless. 2.5 minutes remaining. As long as that rear right doesn't actually explode on Faithless, he should be on for a race 1 win here. Again, Mocking Weeks has managed to get himself past Fat Pickles. I'm sure Fat Pickles is having to do some fuel saving. So Mocking Weeks now 7.7 behind Faithless. He has got Fat Pickles just 3/4 of a second behind. Fabuki holding on to that 4th. So again, these two just might be struggling. Okay, they've worked together to close the gap up, and then to actually get past the NSX in front seems to be proving difficult, unless again they're just hanging on to it until the very last second to make a lunge. I'm talking about. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, it's Fabuki in 4th, Valtteri 5th, Manny in 6th, Dylan in 7th. Don has come in the pits. Has Don had to take on a little bit of fuel, but he's taken on more tyres. And that drops him off the back end of Dylan. Oh no! Oh, it could have all gone wrong for Faithless then. Little bounce into the wall as he tries to make his way round P1 Don, who's just left the pits. Slowed him down a little bit. Gap falling between himself and Mockin. He has got a little bit of front end damage. That's going to be slowing him down on this long straight. A bit of aero and a bit of steering suspension damage. It will repair itself, but it is costing him time while it does so. But we are coming round pretty much to the final lap now. We've got 30 seconds left on the race clock. Faithless has just got to make it round another lap. His car repairs itself now. Mockin Weeks holds on to second, gets the lap down to 4.6 on this final lap. Fat Pickles is right on his tail now though. Oh, we're going to see Fat Pickles push for a second place, using the power as he wound the fuel ratio all the way back up. He's got one straight, one corner to have a go. It's looking good for Faithless, still holding that 4.5 seconds. Yes, he does, Fat Pickles. He puts the fuel into full blam mode. Side by side around this final corner, but I do think Fat Pickles, unless he runs out of fuel, is going to take this second position. But it is going to be Faithless that comes home with race 1 win here. Quite a big gap as well. And there it is. Fat Pickles is going to take a second by the hair on his chinny chin. Mockin Weeks takes 3rd. Fabuki does hold on to 4th in front of Manny. Oh, what happened to Valtteri? Dylan took 6th. Valtteri, oh, he didn't run out of fuel. What happened, Valtteri? He's going to come home in 7th. Don. The handbrake ripped across the line for Valtteri, and Don takes 8th. Right, I'm going to have to run and grab a USB-C cable, aren't I? Darn it. There we go. Oh, can't even... Race 1 done and dusted. Again, it was just a great big slipstream race. It all kind of broke up during the pit stops, really. It's kind of a little bit of a gap started to develop, but all kind of broke up during the pit phase. Right, there will be a couple of minutes break, and during that I'm going to run, get myself a USB-C so I can get my pad up and running again. Back in a second, folks. We're back. We're armed with cables. Right, let's get this shenanigans plugged in. Get out. Get in. Wow, that's got to be the first time in history USB's gone in the right way. Yay. We have the power. There we go then. Right, now I'm back. We can do final positions then. As you saw, Faithless taking the win. Fat Pickles second. Mocking in third. Fubuki fourth. Manny fifth. Dylan sixth. Valtteri seventh. Don in eighth. Unfortunately, only 8 drivers on circuit tonight. So, how are we given... no, not been given a start time for race 2 yet. I'm sure it'll be probably a 10 o'clock start. 10 o'clock where I am anyway. Who knows where you are. So there is the circuit on screen for race 2. Once I've do you know what? We'll get ourselves on circuit. We'll go and watch someone have a little rip through this infield. Nobody else out on track. That brings you out in the middle of that, doesn't it? Okay, we'll go on board with the Mocking Weeks in this view. So you come out of the pits in the infield section on this circuit. So a little bit different. Mocking just testing out the softs again. So Mocking was in the Ferrari in race 1. You can see he's now in the McLaren in race 2. Everybody else will be in a different car as well. So this is where we exit the infield circuit back onto the main track we were just racing on. Two banked corners are exactly the same. We go down half of this back straight before we hit a little bus stop. Well, it's about 3/4 of the way down. See, there's some bollards in the track. We're not going straight on this time. Hard on the brakes into this little bus stop. Again, tightens up the circuit really dramatically through there compared to the rest of it. To the second banked corner. So the pit entrance as it normally is, but the pit exit again has changed. We come out on this infield circuit. Again, bollards in the road. We're going to slam the brakes on here. Drive ourselves a little bit deep there for Mocking. Carries a bit too much speed onto this infield circuit through the little S's down towards the first of the tight hairpins. Again, the drivers have just got to be a little bit careful from coming from this great big wide open circuit to this slightly tighter section. Might just catch them out a little bit. Little kink to the left, then down towards the next hairpin. And then back out onto the main part of the circuit after this right-hander coming up. That is a lap of the Daytona infield track. So slightly different for race 2. Out on track as well, so Faithless in the Lamborghini in race 1 is now in the Toyota Supra or the GT86. Okay then, not much time. Into race 2 we go then. Reverse grid from race 1. That puts Faithless at the back, followed by Fat Pickles. Following Fat Pickles, got Don on P1 for the start. The lights go out, they are underway. Don gets a good start, manages to pull away. way. To this infield circuit then. Hopefully everybody remembered that and didn't go straight on as in race 1. It seems like they have. Don then leads us through. He drives Ferrari in race 2. Dylan gone for the McLaren in race 2. So another NSX for Valtteri. For Buki, who's right behind him. These drivers have actually just swapped cars, I think, for race 1 and 2. So they're both in orange liveried Hondas and orange liveried McLarens in race 1. Oh, that's Fat Pickles. Don't know. Oh, Fat Pickles. No. I don't know what happened there, but I just saw Fat Pickles disappearing off through the grass. Oh, and now it's been reset to circuit. No, Fat Pickles. His tyres will be dirty. Look, it's all going wrong for Fat Pickles in race 2. He's trying to get this thing pointing the right way on circuit. He's got to get it off that grass though. Clean those tyres up. Oh, a long way down for Fat Pickles. Again, that tricky infield circuit catching him out. Dylan then having a sweep up the inside. No, backs out. Don holds this lead then in the Ferrari. Dylan in second. Top 2 starting to pull up with a bit of a gap. Valtteri in 3rd position, 1.9 seconds back. Being harassed by Fubuki around the outside. Manny as well just tucked onto the back end of that fight in another Ferrari in race 2. Faithless Emo does find a position or 2. He gets himself from the back of the pack into 6th. That does involve a departing Fat Pickles. Weeks then in the McLaren for race 2, 0.7 of a second back from Faithless. And Fat Pickles now back up to full race pace, but a long way down. 27.5 seconds off the race leader, 23.7 seconds off of Mocking Weeks. Bit of work to do for Fat Pickles then. Dylan gets himself into the lead of the race in that McLaren. Can Don stay with him? We've got cones in the road. That could be from the Fat Pickles off. Back onto this main part of the circuit then. Don still within striking distance, half a second behind, just in the slipstream range. Don't discount Dylan, he's a little bit quick when he needs to be. Fubuki in 3rd then, 2.5 seconds down. Valtteri holding 4th at the minute, 1.5 seconds behind. Faithless gets another position, gets past Manny into 5th. Manny having a little look back though as they come into the bus stop side by side into here. Oh, he's round he goes. There was a bit of contact between Manny and Faithless. It was a good battle, but unfortunately, again, moving on to that infeed circuit. Can't go too wide through there, but Manny doing the right thing. He's seen he's caused the incident. He's slowed right down. He's allowing Faithless to catch back up, retake that position, and then these two will get back under racing. Give Fat Pickles a little bit of a chase. So his gap between his closest rival was about 23 seconds. It's falling down to 14 seconds. 1 or 2 more incidents like that and he'll actually have someone to have a go at. But it is still Dylan leading. Don still hanging on, 0.6 of a second. Fubuki 2.2, does claim about 0.3 of a second back on these two. Valtteri then. Now we've got Mocking Weeks in 5th, all over the rear end of him. Honda versus McLaren. Looking for a different line through there. Mocking. Try and get a better run on this exit. Or maybe run a little bit too deep. Has he carried a little bit more speed on the way out? He is closing up on Valtteri. short run down towards this bus stop to have a go. Carrying a bit more speed than Valtteri. Is it going to be enough before this bus stop? Oh, and the braking. Valtteri had a little think about it, but it is Mokiewicz that gets through. Valtteri now might be able to have a run down towards the next part of the infield. I'm not sure if he's carrying enough speed though. He's falling back off of Mokin. So Faithless back up into 6th then. Manny 1.7 seconds behind him. Two having a little bit of a coming together, having to back off the throttle to allow Faithless 3 to take that position. That has put them a long way back. Fat Pickles loses a second in that fight to close up on Manny, now 15 seconds down in that McLaren. He'll be thankful there's only 8 drivers in the lobby tonight. He'll still gain some decent points from this one, even with the traumatic start. Getting a little bit closer to Dylan. Fabuki still not too far back either. He's actually closing up on these two. He is now 1.3 seconds down. And closing almost within tow range now for Fabuki. Just be seeing the benefits slightly, or maybe not, because Don is getting the toe off of Dylan in front. Again, Fabuki's just that tiny bit too far back to be gaining through there. They seem to be closing up on the infield sections though. There you go. Now gets that time below a second. Is starting to kick in. That time down to 0.8 of a second as they hit this start-finish straight again. Board with Fabuki as we chase the leading pair. Oh, that's not the way to. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it's a bit of extra brake. There he is, bolted onto the back end of the Ferrari now. Then just 0.5 of a second behind him. Battle underway now. 8 minutes into race 2 here at Daytona. Oh, gets a drift on out of there as well. Dips a wheel on the grass there for Fabuki. It's the rear end of this McLaren a little bit sideways. Manages to keep in touch with the leading pair though. Now, what's Fabuki's plan? Is he just going to stick with them again? Maybe look to save a bit of fuel, or is he going to, is he going to look to make the overtake, but then just be under threat from these two for the next however many laps? It's a tricky decision to make. Obviously, you want to lead a race. You want to get in front, but at what the cost of what extra fuel, pressure? Just sit here in third, 0.8 of a second behind. Looking to close up again. Just hang on to the back of these two, let them do the work. Again, interesting choices goes on in drivers' brains when they're behind the wheel. Still got the wobbly lobbies, unfortunately. Side by side for Don and Dylan then. Don gets himself up the inside for Fabuki, almost slots himself up the inside of Dylan as well. Left the door open a little bit, it's still got a little bit of a chance here. Oh, Dylan coming back at Don though, top 3 really kicking off. Got a set of traffic lights going around this circuit, the red, green and orange. Dylan gets himself back in front. Don puts himself under threat from Fabuki. Will hold the inside line through this next kink though. Gets himself in front. I didn't say anything about the traffic lights being in the right order, okay? So, heading back out onto this main part of the circuit. Are we going to see any moves? Now they're so close. Fubuki, oh, Fubuki gets a swap on again coming out of there. That might have blown his chances before this bus stop to make a move. Trying to get the power down early then for Fubuki. Spins the rears up a little bit, drops him off the tail end of the fight of Don, who's now piling the pressure on Dylan. Gets himself back up the inside here, Don, into this bus stop. Dylan outbrakes him though, fires himself through this. Manages to keep it on circuit as well, coming in there very fast than Dylan. Holds the lead. 11 minutes in. Dylan leads, Don second, Fubuki in third, top three then now 8.2 seconds ahead of Mocking Weeks in fourth. Valtteri in fifth, 2.7 seconds behind. Faithless in sixth, 3.8 seconds behind. Manny has closed the gap back up, 0.8 of a second back, and Faithless has found another half a second as well, so he's got that time down to 14.7. Oh, as he picks up a penalty. Coming up to the penalty zone now as well. This is unfortunate about this game. Just sticks the brakes on, automatically takes your foot off the throttle and slows you down loads. So we'll lose a lot more time than Fat Pickles. Again, oh, we missed the move by Fubuki. He's got himself into the lead of the race. Past Dylan, past Don. Dylan, the red car, has been the stop on the... oh, Fubuki gets another swap on coming out of that final corner onto this main circuit. It's going to be losing a bit of speed. It's got this slightly shorter run around the inside of this circuit though. They are still right there together. And again, just got to be careful of Don. He's having a look. They're three wide coming down here, you maniacs. Oh, but it is, I'm not sure, I don't even know. Fubuki, by the skin of his teeth, holds on to that one. I thought Don had managed to get himself up the inside, but Fubuki holds on to it again. Dylan second then, Don third. Slipstream then, Dylan closes up. Heading down towards this infield circuit. Oh, keeps his car exactly where it needs to. Fubuki, no room for Dylan to get through. Looking for a way around the outside as they hit this kink, but again, nowhere through. This track very tight on the infield. Now then, can Fubuki made it get out of this final corner without lighting the rears up? Through the kink down towards the second hairpin. Now his nemesis, the corner. Keeps both rear tyres in contact with the ground this time. Holds that lead, 0.3 of a second. There is Don, Dylan looking to close up. Don falling off the back a little bit, 0.8 of a second. He's got to be careful now he doesn't fall out of that slipstream range. Is slowly happening here. Gap up to a second now. Don might be under threat of falling away from this fight. It is up to 1.1 already. Top two then. 2 then. Dylan comes in the pits at the halfway mark, 15 minutes and 30 seconds, near as damn it. Fubuki stays out. Plenty of fuel, plenty of life left in those tyres really. He's got 1.5 seconds over P1 Don now. Don not stopped either. Mocking Wheats hasn't stopped yet. Faithless Emo stays out. Manny stays out. Dylan stopped. Valtteri stopped. Fat Pickles comes in as well. So can Don close the gap up on Fubuki, put him under any kind of pressure before these two come into pit? Time is coming down, but still outside that slipstream range at the minute. Don 1.3, nearly 1.4 seconds back. Mocking Wheats 7.2 seconds back in third. Again, not stopped yet. Mocking. Faithless fourth, 7.6 seconds back, not stopped. Manny not stopped, 3.2 seconds in fifth. Dylan has stopped, out in 6th position, 15 seconds behind Manny, 34 seconds behind race leader Fubuki. But he's got half a tank of fuel and a fresh set of racing softs to play with. Valtteri also exits the pits, same, half a tank, fresh set of softs. Fat Pickles comes out as well, fresh set of softs, half a tank. Fubuki stays out. Don comes in this lap. That releases Fubuki onto a completely empty track in front and behind. Again, still a lot of life left in those tyres. Still putting in decent lap times. Again, now he's not battling with anyone. He can get those better lines. He's not got to go defensive. See Fubuki come in. Will he come in now? Will he wait till he's completely out of fuel? Still get another couple of laps out of that Honda. So he's not in the Honda, he's in McLaren. Get a couple of laps out of that McLaren. Mocking Wheats still got a fair bit of fuel left in that McLaren as well. Faithless Emo, big chunk of fuel left in third, as has Manny. In fact, he's got more fuel on board. Dylan up into fifth, then gets himself past Don, who comes out the pits in sixth. Again, fresh set of tyres, just under half a tank. 7th, Fat Pickles in 8th, still 14.6 seconds behind Valtteri as well. Fubuki stays out for another lap. He is running it till it's dry here then. 9 seconds lead over Mocking. Mocking also stops out this lap. Faithless Emo, what's he going to do? Misses the pit entrance, so it stays out. Manny, he comes in this lap. Fubuki then leads by 9 seconds. Where will he come out when he pits? Will Dylan be able to retake race lead? Got lap times wise, so the last 3 have been 1:53s. Actually, fastest lap being set by Fubuki on lap 8, 1:53.0. So I think that's pretty much when Dylan came in. It is. So he has got a 1:53.0 on the clock then, Dylan. 1:53.084. But it does look like overall Fubuki is slightly quicker. He's got a couple of other 53s on the board there. So it pulls a bit more time over Mocking Weeks. 9.7 seconds now. Is he going to risk it for another lap? No, he's coming in the pits. So Mocking Weeks, what's he going to do? He probably could do another lap if he was brave enough. He also peels into the pits now. Faithless Emo again could do another lap. And does, stays out. Dylan coming around this final corner then, down towards the pit entrance. He's already stopped, so it's all about where Fubuki and Mocking Weeks come out. Well, and Faithless Emo, now he's decided to stop out as well. Fubuki taking on board with the fuel. It is a long pit exit here as well. I think Dylan's managed to get himself in front. He's already halfway through this infield section. There is Fubuki. Just comes out the pits behind Dylan. Now, what's the fuel and tyres? So obviously a slightly fresher set of tyres on board for Fubuki. And is exactly the same amount of fuel on board. So it's on here again then between Fubuki and Dylan. Faithless Emo leads the race though at the minute. 14.2 seconds he's got in the Toyota. He's got to stop yet though, and I would expect at the end of this lap. Won't have to take on board much fuel though. We'll only have about 6 minutes left of racing once he does come in. The jets in the background landing. So Dylan and Fubuki just 3/4 of a second between them. Can Dylan hold on to it? Can Fubuki do what he did in the first stint and close that gap up? Again, we have only got 7 minutes remaining in race 2 here. Loses a bit of time through there, Fubuki. Gap almost at a second. Fubuki doesn't want to drop out of that slipstream range either. So current race leader Faithless comes in. I think it's going to be easy pickings for Dylan, Fubuki and Don. Probably, yeah, there's Mocking Weeks just on the back end of that fight as well. All 4 of these should get past Faithless reasonably easily. Whether Manny gets past, I don't know. Bit of tyre squeal there from Mocking. Comes into this infield section hot, closes that gap up on Don pretty quickly. Dylan and Fubuki still exactly as they were, about 3/4 of a second. A second has just stretched up to a second actually. So what will happen here between Don and Mocking? Just 0.7 of a second between these two as well. Manny does get through then. Faithless Emo comes, oh, he's picked a 3-second penalty as well, Faithless. Pit entrance or pit exit mistake there, I'm sure of it. Crossing the white line too early is a great big no-no here on GT7. So unfortunately he's got to lose that. Just as we come onto the start-finish straight. Getting a bit of a toe off of Manny in front, but he's got Valtteri just 3.7 seconds behind him. And you don't just lose, although he's got a 3-second penalty, you don't just lose the 3 seconds. You lose a lot more than that. It's usually at least another second on top of whatever penalty you've got, just as you get back up to speed. So Faithless could be under threat here for this 6th position. Valtteri could be taking that off him. Oh, not if he's getting his car sideways, he won't. Oh, he's now 5.2, back with that little mistake, so Faithless could be safe. Fat Pickles has got a bit of a chase on now, 6.9 seconds, 6.5 to Valtteri in front. 4.5 minutes left on the race timer. Dylan and Fubuki still at it. Fubuki not been able to close the gap up too much. That battle for third is still kicking off as well. Don and Mockinweek still 3/4 of a second between these two. Runs wide. How's that cost him? Doesn't seem to have. The gap's still at 0.8 of a second. Absolutely nothing in it between these two then. Neither car got an advantage. Pretty much the same for Don and Mockinweeks, although Mockinweeks loses a couple of tenths to Don. Gains it back on the way through that little bus stop though, Mockinweeks. So Manny still holding fifth. Faithless Emo now 6 seconds behind. Got himself in front of Valtteri. Still just by 0.8 of a second. Losing that penalty then has cost him a great big chunk of time. Valtteri was 5 seconds behind him. There is Fat Pickles. So tough. What's the word I'm looking for? Tough job, I suppose. He's got about 2 minutes remaining. 4.2 seconds now on the back end of Valtteri. This gap has now stretched. Dylan found a bit of time then. 1.1 seconds, nearly 1.2 over Fubuki as we come into this final stage of race 2. Don still holding his own over Mockinweeks at the minute. Again, got a lap or two remaining here. What are we, 153 laps? Ooh, yeah, we might see one more lap. It is Dylan who's just found a little bit of extra time here, a little bit of a tighter line than Fubuki somewhere. He's managed to pull a tiny bit of a gap. That's enough to break the toe for Fubuki. And without that, I can see him only slipping slightly further back. Now stretching back up again between Don and Mockin. So Manny in fifth, still got a great big chunk of time between himself and Faithless, 5.2. Valtteri just 1.4 seconds back. Fat Pickles found nearly half a second. And again, we are into the last minute of the race. Across the line then to start this final lap. Dylan leads by 1.1 seconds from Fubuki. Don, can he hold on to third in race 2? He's got Mockinweeks just half a second behind him. Whoa, Mockin goes a bit deep. He's all over the marbles. That's cost him a great big blob of time. He was half a second down. He's going to be about 1.2, 1.3. Just managed to hold it under 1.2 seconds there. Breathing room for Don then. It's looking ever better for Dylan. A couple of corners remaining for him. And more points to secure his championship lead at the minute, Dylan. He's been pretty consistent, taking most of the wins in the season so far in the Fusion Elite. onto this back side of the circuit then, all the way down towards this bus stop. Don't get it wrong through here, Dylan. Gets it through there cleanly. Just got to get through this final turn, pulling in a little purple sector as well. Is it going to be enough for a fastest lap on the final? He's certainly going to take the win, that's for sure. For Buki, no chance now. 1.4 seconds down as they hit this straight. And Dylan is going to take the checkered flag. Oh, he doesn't take the fastest lap though. Fubuki holds on to that, but then takes second as well. Don is going to come home in third. Mocking Weeks unable to take that position either, so he comes home in fourth. Manny will hold fifth. Faithless did close back up, but not enough before the end of the race. There he is in the background. Manny then fifth position in race 2. Faithless Emo comes home for sixth. Valtteri 7th, and Fat Pickles did close the gap up down to less than a second by the time they crossed the line. He would have wanted one more lap maybe. Applying that pressure on Valtteri. But yes, there it is. Another win for Dylan in the series. Taking the win in race 2 then. Fubuki second, P1 Don in third, Mocking Weeks fourth, Manny fifth, Faithless in sixth, Valtteri 7th, and Fat Pickles in 8th. Again, only 8 drivers this week in Fusion Elite. Not great to see. No problem, Fat Pickles. No problem at all. No problem, Mocking Weeks. Or you, Fubuki. So yeah, that was round 3 of the GTTCC. Again, even with 8 drivers, still some great racing. And you can see when Faithless Emo and who was it? Manny had a little coming together, was it? I think it was. You know, you saw the yeah, it is a shame about the turnout. That's exactly what I thought. No problem, Manny. Yes, when Manny and Faithless had a little bit of a coming together, you could see the respect there. That's what we want. Manny slowed down, you know, allowed Faithless to take that position back, and then cracked on with the race. Unfortunately, you know, it might cost you a battle, or you know, a position or whatever, or a win. But tough race clean. That's what we want. That's why we put these rules in. It just promotes cleaner driving. So there it is, round 3 done and dusted. We will be back same time, same place next week at 9 o'clock for round 4. I myself am back on Wednesday night at 8:30 for the Team Oliver Racing GR3 League, again hosted by MRC. So make sure you check that out. Again, great big season. We've got 2 different lobbies open. We've got pros and pro-ams. We've got myself doing the pros and D-Dot doing the pro-ams. So come and check that out at 8:30 on Wednesday. And then, yeah, like I say, 9 o'clock Friday night. Get yourself back in for GTTCC round 4. Oh, all right. We've been oofed out the lobby already. Never mind. So, yeah, that's it. I hope you like what you watched. If you have, give it a like, comment, subscribe. But you know what's coming next, most of all. Tell your mates. Tell your mums. My name's Dark Smoker. I'm out of here.